building up your body of stories in a way. And we've found something very, very similar with MojoLife, haven't we? That people have actually come to us, not necessarily because they're in pain or they're at a crossroads. Some of them are, or maybe they've got a business which has gone flat. But they're coming to us because they realise that they've got a story to share as well. And they're retrospectively making sense of what's happened to them once we've explained all of this stuff to them. They say, that's it. That's it. That's happened to me. But the beauty of this is that the thing that underpins all of this, and I hope you really see this now, is that you're a lot more interesting than you think you are, that you have a lot more to offer than maybe you think you do, that you have a better story than perhaps you've been articulating before, and that you have a lot more power to engineer your own future than perhaps you thought of previously. But can you see how all of these things start from you understanding your own story? You have to understand it first, and the people who find it most difficult to understand are usually the people themselves. Why? Because they're too close to it. One of the things that Seth Godin talks about is that people don't understand their art. And Nick and I were talking about this before. A receptionist who is faced with a very irate customer, and the receptionist calms them down, reads the situation, turns the customer around to become an advocate for the business, is doing art. It's a creative solution to a problem which he or she delivers. Now, the trouble is that receptionists don't understand that because, well, that's just what I do, isn't it? But can you see how it leads to people undervaluing what they do? And sometimes you need, rather like Richard McCann did, to step out of your bubble and tell the story, but you've got to reflect on yourself first before you can do that, and then you begin to realise, well, hang on a minute, I'm doing some amazing stuff here. Now, in terms of making this relevant to you in terms of your business, I mean, who has a business here? Yeah, so probably half of you. The rest, I assume, are either in employment or at some kind of crossroads position. If you're looking to reinvigorate your business, or you're looking to move your life in a direction of your choosing so that you want to get your zest, your spark back again, then the first thing you need to connect with is what you're about. It's the Simon Sinek stuff. When you go home tonight, when you're driving home, I want you to reflect on what's my why. Why do I do what I do? Why do I feel strongly about it? And if, having reflected on it, you think to yourself, well, the trouble is, I don't have a why to do with what I do at the moment, then maybe you start to have to rethink what you're doing. Or perhaps if you are doing what you want to do, but you're not explaining it very well, you're not getting that pull, that attraction, maybe you need to recraft the story. But it starts with you having to reflect on it first and foremost. So we have some programs. We deliver Mojo in a day, we deliver MojoLife in two principal ways. It's not the only two ways, but it's the two ways we're going to start off explaining now. We do things called meetups, but I'm going to explain meetups with reference to Mojo in a day first of all. Mojo in a day, as the name suggests, enables people to be immersed in this whole process of reflecting on who they are, of what their manifesto would be, what they have a passion for, how they might understand and then articulate that story better, how they would communicate it to people, how they might package a business or an offering, how would you package your expertise or what you're about, and how would you go about propagating that message, either through social media and or face-to-face networking. How are you going to build your tribe? How are you going to pull opportunities to you because of this particular approach? That's what we immerse you in for one day, okay? Now, the idea is that people who do Mojo in a day come away all fired up and enthused, and that's the direction I'm going in, they're starting their new journey. But it would be irresponsible of us to get people all hyped up and to throw them to the wolves and leave them alone with no support. That's where things tend to go wrong. So the meetups, which are 2-hour meetings, which usually take place every 2 or 3 weeks, are essentially the glue that holds the journey together. It's where you have the ongoing support. Typically we'll have, maybe 12, 15 people in a meetup, and we'll share and reflect on what's been happening since the Mojo in a day. Has it been working for you? How did this process of putting your manifesto together go? It's where we reflect and share on what's happened so far. It's an opportunity for us to embed some of these ways of thinking and to help you with some practical skills or the application of the skills that you learn in the Mojo in a day. But also it's starting to attract people to Mojo as guests, rather like Helen and other ambassadors who have extraordinary stories themselves to tell. And again, retrospectively, they're figuring out, well, actually, this is the stuff I've been doing, but I never thought about it this way before. So can you see that they're further down the journey than perhaps you might be? But nonetheless, they're a wonderful source of inspiration for people who are thinking of going down this route. So that's kind of how the meetups and Mojo in a day works. So can you see that there are also corporate programs here, which Sarah's going to talk about now. So if you do represent an organization or a larger company, there's something that we can do there too.
So we're offering programs to take place within organisations to support organisational change, whether it's relating to restructure or transition, where organisations are making redundancies, for example. And we can provide support in the outplacement area, supporting people who are leaving the organisation to prepare them for the new world of work. And what we do is different to what you normally experience, what I experienced as outplacement, which was about CV writing, interview skills and job search skills. We can do that, and we do a bit of that. That's part of it, but it's only a small part of it, because the larger part of it is based on what we've talked about today, which is about showing people ways of connecting with others, to create opportunities, to pull opportunities to them through the use of social media, through networking, through having a personal brand, and through finding their passion and purpose, because that's a very powerful blend. So we work in outplacement, and those principles apply also to people within organisations who've undergone that transition. They're sometimes called survivors, the ones that are still behind, and there's that painful period when their colleagues have left the organisation and they're stretched and they're stressed and they're not quite sure which direction the organisation is going in and what they can contribute to it and whether they even want to be there anymore. So we work in organisations to help people through that transition, to help them develop a collaborative approach to the strategy and the business plan and the visioning and to team building. And we do all stages of that process, so from the learning, needs analysis, through to the design and the implementation and the evaluation. And everything is bespoke. We don't have off the shelf because every organisation is individual and different. So we would work very closely with the leaders in the organisation, and every person in an organisation, we believe, is a leader. So it's a very collaborative and generative way of developing a programme, because most leadership training doesn't work because it's generally implemented from above, but we have an approach where we co-build and design our programs.
To you, and then it puts them into this amazing pattern. So these are all the words that mean something to us. But if I pick on one or two here, storytelling means, you need to understand your story, you need to get good at telling it. Things like empowerment, self-leadership. It's not really about us providing you with all of the answers because we implant them on you. It's about us helping you to figure out how you're going to move things forward in a direction of your choosing. So it's about self-leadership. It's about creating entrepreneurial solutions to being in a bind. Because we've done it, Helen's done it, loads of other people are doing it, but most people aren't. But do you know what? That's an opportunity, isn't it?